Well, good morning, everybody. It gives me great pleasure to be able to be the first person to say this morning, congratulations to the graduating class of 2013. My job as president of the college is to try to lend an air of dignity to these proceedings. Unfortunately, I'm sort of struggling with that this morning. I got up this morning and, I was trying on this fancy hat I get, and my son immediately turned to me and said, "I didn't realize you worked at Pizza Hut." So I'm glad I can proceed for the rest of the morning without it. There are two important traditions in the president's introductory remarks at commencement at Reed. But one of them is that I'm supposed to distill a lifetimes of experience into 5 minutes of wisdom that will last you for the rest of your lives. The other important tradition is that you are supposed to ignore everything I say. So I was a little daunted about this task. It's my first Reed commencement. I wasn't sure what I wanted to say. Fortunately, I bumped into a parent last night who said there was a great article on the Chronicle of Higher Education website in which Colin Diver talked about the meaning and purpose of commencement. And I thought, how appropriate, because your education, most of it, was undertaken while Colin was president. I'll go to the website and I'll get some wisdom from Colin about what I should say. So I went to the website, and in it, Colin raised, I think, what is the most provocative question that has troubled both me and the faculty about commencement for a long time. It's a question I think parents are concerned about, too. It's a question of cost. Colin asked, why does it cost so much to rent a large white tent? I'm not going to try to answer that big question this morning, but in my remaining 4 minutes, I am going to try to encapsulate for you everything I know about the meaning of life. So here's the thing. Reed has been very challenging for you, but it's also been relatively straightforward. You have to scrape together enough money to come here and to stay here. You have to study extremely hard. You have to survive Hume 110. You have to navigate the arcane requirements for your degree, and then you have to write a senior thesis, a major independent, scholarly, or creative piece of work. All very challenging, but all very straightforward in terms of the process and the goals for which you are aiming. You are aiming to be here at the end of 4 or 5, sometimes 6 years, in the proud possession of a Reed diploma. Unfortunately, this is probably the last straightforward thing you will do in your lives. From now on, everything is going to be much more complicated. Because from now on, you will get up every single morning and you will face what I take to be the central existential question of existence. What am I supposed to do now? Fortunately, you have gone through Reed's mandatory practical life skills training course. Oh, you laugh. The parents probably didn't hear about this, but we do have a practical life skills training course. It's required of all first-year students. It's called Humanities 110. Humanities 110 truly is, in my view, the most practical thing you could possibly do. And I'm sure all of your parents agree that nothing could better prepare you for life than spending a year thinking about the classics of Mediterranean civilization. Hume 110 asks you to think about a really big question. And because we're the Reed community and we're somewhat smug and intellectually self-satisfied, we have to refer to that question in its Greek terms, the problem of eudaimonia, the question of what it means to live a good life. to define what it means to thrive as a human being, to think for yourself what happiness means, and to try to cobble together the elements of a successful existence as a human. As you remember from Hume 110, there's a lot of different answers to that question. Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, one of the most famous of Reed attendees, had an equally famous answer to that question. He exhorted his friends and his colleagues to make a dent in the universe. Now, I think this is a really good answer, but alas, like Steve's Reed education, it is one that is extremely incomplete. I want you to go out and have an impact on the world, but what I would tell you is that while it may be important to make a dent in the universe, it's probably more important to spend part of your life repairing the dents of others. We live in a really amazing world. It is a wondrous world. There's so many incredible challenges, opportunities, beautiful moments awaiting you when you leave Reed. But it's also a world with a lot of ignorance, a lot of fear, and a lot of cruelty. These are things that I hope all of you will think a little bit about today, and hopefully will spend part of your life when you leave these lovely grounds to do something about. Now, your Reed education has really prepared you for these challenges, right? It's been a remarkable education you've received. It's an education that focuses not just on analytic rigor, intellectual discipline, but also on being highly creative. And it's that combination that makes Reed very unique. It's that combination that makes Reedies such great problem solvers out in the world. But I hope you'll remember this morning that while it may be important to be smart, it is, in my estimation, a lot more important to be kind and to be thoughtful of others. So before we proceed this morning, I'd like us to take a few minutes to remember that commencement is not just about celebrating your own achievements, but it's about displaying gratitude for the people who helped you get to this moment in your life. So first, I'd like the students of the graduating class to stand up. None of you got here on your own. It took parents and partners and friends and family and loved ones to help you, to support you, to challenge you. And so I want you to turn, if you would, face your parents, your friends, your community, and I'd like you all to give them a standing ovation for the support they've given you. And you can sit down now. An education is only as good as the scholars and teachers and educators who work really hard every single day, not just to try to give you an education, but even more important than that, to teach you how to educate yourself and to educate others. And so I would ask at this moment for the faculty of Reed College to stand so that all of us here can acknowledge you and thank you for your hard work.